Hi there and welcome to On Click Closet. This is my first tutorial about 3D garment making in Style3D Studio, and I am happy that you're watching it at admin slot. So today we're going to be seeing that how I created the vest and the trouser in Style3D Studio. So first thing first, open a new file and start with the basic borders. Import your avatar from the library and then start creating the borders. I'm creating round neck simple borders so I can translate it into the v-neck later on, because as you can see in the reference picture below, behind it, you can see that I have developed it from Midjourney and I'm using it as my design reference. So to get the right shape of neck, shoulders, and the V-neck from the front and back also, because the design seem to have long high neck. So we need to achieve that. So I'm just matching all the points and setting up the perfect curve for the neckline, while also manipulating the shoulder line as well, because that's necessary. And so if you also want to import your own image as reference in the background, you can do that by just go to file, import, and import images as sketch. Yes. So once you are getting the right shape of the borders, you can start with the bottom ones, but I'm also switching between the fabric properties as well, because the garments are stiffer, it's not flowy, so I need to have the strengthen on all parts of the body, so if it doesn't flow on the body. And I've also used the cotton canvas material, so because it gives the nicer stiffer look to the garment. So moving forward, I need a very crisp under bust line which gives a good crease uh, at the area of the underbust. So I'm using some internal lines like really close and putting the fold um, angles like pretty high, something around 360. It gives a nicer edge towards inside and allows the depth to the bust. We also need to match the width at the end of the bus, if it's accurate or not. So I'm manipulating the points at the side seams to get the proper shape of the hem. So next thing is jacket is double layered, so it has the another flap coming out from the center of the bus. So I'm drawing again an internal line to get that curve, and after drawing the internal line, I am using I key to select all the pattern area which I need another layer of, and I'm just hitting the rightly and duplicating the pattern to the pattern and stitching it, moving forward with the stitching it to the basic bodice. The layers at the neckline should not collide, so I'm editing the points again and editing the stitch line again, combining different patterns at the shoulder and the arms, so it does not collide at the end points and even in between, because it is double layered at the shoulder line. Once the vest is done, we are gonna go to the sleeves, and for the sleeves I'm first creating a pattern for the cuff, because on the cuff the sleeves will attach to, and the sleeves are like really puffy and it has overlap fabric. So at the first go I tried to bring all three patterns together, but it didn't work, so I have to like delete two of them and first make one of them. So the width is more than it should be. That's how we can create the puff. And I've put a elastic on the edges where joining three pieces are joining together. So I've put the elastic on, so it gives kind of it shrinks the seam line, and it gives really nice collected fabric look, like it gives the gathers on the edges. So that's how I'm creating the sleeve, and you can shift D and duplicate it to the other side of the hand with all symmetry. The basic shortcuts which I'm using is S to draw the pattern, Control Z to edit the points, and M or N key to stitch the pieces together. So both the keys N and M works differently. So N is like stitch the whole line together, but when you switch to M, you have the option to customize the stitch line, like So once we are done with the waist and the sleeves, I'm gonna freeze them so it does not simulate, and I'm gonna do the trousers. So for the trousers, I'm using the shadow of the 2D shadow of the 3D model in the 2D window and creating the basic pants shape to get the trousers, which has a lot of curve point as well. So I'm editing the curve point using V. You can also do that, it's by default, the shortcut is. And I'm losing the pant a bit from all sides because I want to have the loose fitted trousers. And after I get the similar shape than the trousers have, I'm making some internal lines at the waist and at the thigh as well to give it the pockets and the waist belt over it. And I'm also making some strings attached to the waist. So to do the strings, I'm just hitting S and making a thin rectangle which is like maximum 1 inch in the width and something in the height, and I'm attaching that to the waist belt and then simulating. I recommend using strengthen from Control H to strengthen the patterns, because patterns like strings and very smaller pieces, they go away and they go haywire like very quickly. So I need to make sure that they are stiffer and not flowing around. I'm using Control H to do that. And after making some internal lines, I'm tracing different patterns to get the pockets, and the pockets have some knife pleats. So rather than using the pleats tool by default, I recommended, and I also recommend for myself to create the pleats with the pattern, because that's how I've practiced it and it's more easy and quick for me to use. So that's why I can do that, but you can also use the pleats tool and the fold tools. These are available in Style3D. So in the pants, I have a lot of gathers at different places in the pants, like under the knee, at the side base, and that's what I have loosened up the pattern. So to get the perfect gathers, what we do, we make some internal lines, and if, we can put some elastic properties, depends on the gathers you want to have. So that's how it works, like really good. And make sure to get the best results here using with the particle distance 5, so you can see the absolute beautiful gathers wherever you want. And for this garment I have used a lot of elastic properties, and I have also made some layers on the elasticated parts of the trouser where I want to show the thickness. So you can just trace out the internal lines and trace it into a pattern, and stitch it with the internal lines, and you just select it and hit paste over using right click. That's how I made this, and hope you learned something, and feel free to reach out to me in the comments or on our social media if you have any question about this piece or anything about Style 3D. Bye bye.